and welcome to March 2025 edition of Macro and Market Update. Global landscape has become highly dynamic and uncertain, with most events emanating from the US. We have heard multiple promises or targets from the US government, and quite many of them run contradictory to each other. The US president also desires to influence many changes on the global political front, such as in the Middle East and ceasefire in Russia-Ukraine. There have been multiple announcements on tariff and then subsequent to and fro movement on that. We also noticed that the narratives on tariff have also shifted from universal tariff to reciprocal tariff. We still think that tariff may not be entirely an end to itself, but may often get deployed to drive policy concessions from other nations. Now, if one comes to data, US inflation in January 2025 came in higher than expected, and it was a broad-based rise. One should not read much in 1 month's data, and we will actively watch out if this trend continues. There is a lot of debate around inflationary and disinflationary impact of Trump's policy, but the bottom line to us is that if Trump manages to shore up demand in the US, that would be inflationary and it would keep any positive rate actions at bay. However, just as we discussed, many of the Trump's policy could have opposing effect on that economy. In that respect, one critical area to keep a watch on is the success of DOGE, that is, Department of Government Efficiency under the supervision of Elon Musk, which wants to reduce the government's fiscal spending by $2 trillion annually. The chances of its success and hence a reduction in government deficit is slim, because the US demographic profile limits the tax buoyancy now. Republicans want to cut taxes, and the skew towards old age means that many of the welfare spending will have to continue. And finally, US discretionary spending is already low to start with. Still, if somehow with the means of innovation they can reduce deficit, it would be positive for US bonds and current account, but it could also mean that the growth outlook for the US economy turns softer. We have a high degree of uncertainty on these aspects in the US economy. One of the focal points of Trump has been to keep longer-term yields anchored or fall. And if that is desired, it would rather be prudent to keep monetary policy act in consonance with the growth inflation outlook and not to rush on easing unless data supports the Fed to do so. Currently, market expects 1 to 2 rate cuts in 2025. We also see that global policy movements are becoming less synchronized and outlook are looking relatively diverse, dictated by the domestic needs of each economy. ECB has cut its policy rate. In the last policy, US Fed was clearly on pause. China also stays accommodative, while Japan is clearly on the path of rate hikes dictated by the elevated inflation. From here on, there are multiple forces which could keep dollar sideways. But all in all, in the immediate few quarters, it appears that the thesis to invest in the US assets stays supported, and hence one shouldn't expect any material softness in US dollar. If the outlook on US growth improves, which is debatable right now, US small cap could outperform the S&P, dictated by the easy valuations. The short-term treasuries also look to be an attractive asset class. Commodities have also been rising in recent times. Multiple factors are being touted as a reason, such as green shoots in Chinese economic data and a hope that growth in China could surprise positively. Germany is also expected to spend on its infrastructure and relax the fiscal constraints. And if Germany spends, rest of the European countries could follow. investment is also expected out of Canada. US manufacturing PMI turned green for the first time in 28 months, and there are hopes of better capital good demand out of the US. US small business optimism is strong. In the end, one has to watch out if the culmination of all the policy actions is a better global growth, especially outside of the US. One would have logically thought that all these tariffs tend to be anti-growth. But clearly, global equities and commodities seem to suggest that something different is in the offing. This space has to be watched out. Gold had a strong start to the year, having risen 10% in 2-month 2025 after an already 30% gain in last 1 year and 80% since COVID. There have been multiple geopolitical considerations and US macro dynamics to gold rally. And now the tariff story has given another leg to the gold. But valuation matrix for gold is getting more stretched than ever. In a market where demand for US short-term treasury and US equities and hence dollar stays favorable, one also has to take cognizance of the risk in further rise to gold prices. Now, coming to India, the latest monetary policy saw repo being cut by 25 basis points. Liquidity support is coming in the form of OMO purchases, buy-sell swap in US dollar, long-term VRR. But it will take some time for liquidity to turn in surplus. We suspect not before May, when RBI makes a dividend transfer, which is again contingent on government spending them. But unless liquidity moves to a sustained surplus, transmission of rate cuts will not happen. There is a need to revive credit growth in India, and credit regulations are getting relaxed. While growth is back on policy focus, more needs to be done. As a base case, Indian rupee could gradually gyrate towards 90 against US dollar. But in this time, depreciation may not be a bad thing after all. Q3 FY25 GDP improved to 6.2% versus 5.6% in Q2, but it is still a soft number. Growth still appears to be stuck under 7%. While the government across the globe appears to be mulling on greater industrial support, India wants to do so but without losing the sight of fiscal consolidation. We are incrementally getting positive on India's growth, and we think that India's growth could gradually inch towards 7% in FY26 because monetary support is at least coming by. In the similar vein, Q3 FY25 earnings were also muted. The profit growth has been in single digit for 3 quarters in succession. Weakness in consumption coupled with a drag from commodities has put pressure on earnings, even as BFSI, healthcare, capital goods and technology have recorded a healthy print. There were further downgrades to Nifty earnings estimate for FY25 and FY26. FIIs continue to sell and have sold nearly $13 billion year to date. While from FII's perspective, other markets in the emerging market space look more attractive compared to India, there are a few aspects in India which is turning positive and turning round the corner. The recent correction in broader markets factor in some of the potential disappointments in earnings ahead. That said, the valuations for mid and small cap are still expensive vis-a-vis their own history as well as versus Nifty 50. Thus, we continue to remain biased towards the large cap. Additionally, sentiment euphoria has reduced at the margin, which does create pockets of opportunity in the stock market. From the fixed income perspective, if there is an OMO support, CPI is back to near 4% level, Fiscal consolidation stays as the focus, and one is hopeful of liquidity conditions to get better, then despite the compressed spreads and rupee risks, it makes sense to stay positive on Indian rates. Given the spreads and an expectation on easing liquidity conditions through the year, we prefer corporate bonds across all segments. Signing off for this month. Thank you.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.